Hello, hello. Test, test, test. Oh, we got mic adjustment here. There we go. Per the usual, I'm going to apologize in advance if my dog starts barking because it's about to be mail time and she loves to scream at the mailman. So, yeah, my apologies in advance. We'll give everyone a sec to join the stream. And why is this not? Okay. My windows got reorganized again. Sometimes TradingView does that, man. I don't understand. As you can see, I'm watching the gold, silver, different biotech, little oil, a little bit of everything, just to kind of keep a pulse on everything. But the most important thing that we're going to talk about first is, of course, the dollar index. Let me do a test real quick. Someone type in chat test. Let me see if it pops up on this. Let's see if it pops up on the stream now. I think I fixed it. Is it popping up? We popping up? Because otherwise I'm going to have to be flipping back and forth between YouTube and... Oh, it worked. Cool. Okay. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's zoom out on the monthly time frame for the dollar index, and let's talk about why I'm so bearish on the dollar first. First and foremost, this monthly squeeze on the Bollinger Bands just is screaming for a downside move, a sustained downside move. And keep in mind, these are monthly candles. So that's most likely going to be, several months, most likely a couple years is what I'm guessing. And so, we're not necessarily going to see this like jackknifing move downward, but it's possible. Back in 2002, we had a similar sort of setup where we had the squeeze, a fake out to the upside, and then a reversal, and it just kept bleeding down. And a couple months ago when I started streaming again, I was talking about this, and I mentioned that this monthly close, this guy right here, outside the Bollinger Bands, often means we're going to see some sideways consolidation so that we can start to getting closes back inside the Bollinger Bands before a continuation to the downside. And that's what we're seeing here. And keep in mind, these are monthly candles. So when we look at the daily or like even the 4-hour, if you're really crazy, it doesn't look like the same sort of picture, but we see this really, really nice consolidation. And the trend metric that I like to use is the standard cloud settings with the 50 and the 200 EMA. And right now we are setting up a monster continuation signal. Okay. The bull case was we enter into the cloud, we move to the upside of the cloud, and we close outside. The bear case is we enter into the cloud and it acts as resistance and it starts to bleed out. And the most bearish you could ask for is not only does it move down through the cloud, but it breaks to the bottom of the downside. That in conjunction with the rejection of the 50 EMA, this is just screaming, watch out if you're a dollar bull. When we look back, let's see if I can scroll back that far in history. So this is 2001. I'm sorry, 2002. Very similar setup. Obviously, not just a cut and paste kind of thing, but we do see these sideways consolidations often tend to correspond with a retest of the cloud and a rejection of the cloud, and that's what we see here. This one's more along the lines of what we're seeing now. But usually, when you break out to the downside of the cloud, it spells continuation. In the direction of the rejection. The direction of the rejection. And that's what we're seeing here. So the only thing that we can say that'll make this more bearish, and it's just a matter of time, but will make the dollar look more bearish than it currently is, because it currently looks like shit. Is we want to see the first. We want to see a bearish cloud twist. We want to see cloud anatomy starting to spill out to the downside, spill out to the top, to the downside, and ultimately we want to see. So when I say here, let's tackle this. So we have two things we want to see. We want to see a bearish cloud twist, which means that we want to see this flip like this, so it looks kind of like this guy right here. See how it flips bearish? We want to see that, which is most likely going to happen on the daily candle close today. It's probably going to close this a bearish twist. But also we want to see the cloud anatomy, which is like the Kijun here and the Tenkan, the slow and fast moving average. We want to see those trending out to the downside, and again, most likely going to see the Tenkan, which is the slow guy, the blue guy. I'm sorry, the fast guy, the blue moving average. It's once the daily candle closes, this is probably going to end up outside here, and the Kijun's going to spill out. So, you know, it's definitely leaning super, super bear. The final nail in the coffin will happen probably by the week's end, when we see this cross along with the anatomy trending to the downside with price. And we'll see something along the lines of like this, where the stuff just kind of drips out to the downside. Okay. So once again, monthly outlook, super bearish. Weekly outlook, same sort of dealio. Most likely going to see, before there's any meaningful balance, if you're looking for a downside objective, it's most likely going to be this Bollinger Band to the downside. But if I had to guess, it's most likely going to be something along the lines of this, where it kind of it hits it, bounces a little bit, and then it just kind of just dribbles down the side of the Bollinger Band like that. But I'm just prognosticating at this point. But point being, very strong bearish bias for this thing, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing any strength at all. And this is echoed not only in the crypto market, but traditional markets as well. Metals, stocks, you name it. They look bullish, dollar looks bearish. And that is exactly the situation we've been talking about on the stream for the last 2 or 3 months, right? Bearish dollar equals very bullish Bitcoin. This is the situation we've all been waiting for. And yeah, it's looking really good. So before I go on to crypto, do you guys have any questions about the dollar index? I suspect not, because I just talk about the same thing. I'm just updating you guys. Nothing new, nothing crazy. If you've been following my stream at any point in the last couple months, this is all the same shit I've been talking about. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move on to the exciting stuff while you're all here, I would imagine. So before we get into Bitcoin, we want to talk about total market cap. Okay, the elevator pitch for why total market cap is important is because if you have an uptrend established in the total market cap, that means capital in the crypto market is expanding, overall buyer interest is growing, and that means capital is entering into the market rather than exiting into the market. And so now the name of the game isn't do I buy crypto, it's which crypto do I buy. Okay, that's the takeaway from this. The last time I did a stream, was it last week? I don't recall. It was maybe this candle, one of those two candles there. Doesn't matter. Point being, we see the cleanest of clean macro support and resistance flips right here. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know why, but right in here, everyone started getting very, very macro bearish. God forbid we have one red fucking candle before people just run around like chickens with their head cut off. And Yeah, like right as soon as it got in here, all of crypto Twitter was like, oh, it's going to lower lows, and completely just skipped the fact that there is a macro support sitting right there. And sure enough, it respected it and it rallied. And now keep in mind, this is the total market cap. So this means all of crypto. This is Bitcoin and altcoins. Okay. So now let's get a little bit more specific here and let's take a look at total 2. Hold on. I'm going to take a quick break 1 sec because I know my dog's about to bark at this mailman and I don't want to blow your eardrums out. 1 sec. Okay, we're back. I just know that the mailman's going to come to the door. She's going to hear that Amazon, like the little beep beep when he scans the barcode, and she's going to lose her mind. Like there's the Pavlov's dog where they ring the bell and they start salivating. My dog's learned behavior is that when she hears the beep, that means it's time to bark her brains out. So anyway, let's go ahead and move forward. So question from YouTube, what thoughts on the PayPal announcement? Yeah, so I'm actually going to, once I get to the Bitcoin section, I'm going to talk about that because I know I say all the time I don't trade fundamentals, but if I were, this is the fundamentals I would trade. Like PayPal announcement is actually a very, very big deal. So I'll give my thoughts on that in a few minutes once I finish up the total market cap update. So total, which includes Bitcoin and alts, looks amazing. Clean support and resistance flip, trending upward beautifully. And if we slap cloud metrics on there, what do we see? We see just clean uptrend. When we look at the daily chart, I don't really like to look at the daily chart for crypto market cap. I only like to look at the weekly or monthly. But again, cloud breakout looks strong. Nothing to worry about here. Monthly candle is running into cloud resistance, but it's kind of muddy. So that's why I like to look at the weekly. It's the best. Plus, once you look at monthly, like what does monthly trend on total market cap really tell you? It's too high level, too broad of a picture. But I think the weekly is a nice compromise. So let's talk about total 2. Can someone, so for a question from YouTube, can someone enlighten me, what does the CT abbreviation mean? CT is just crypto Twitter. It's shorthand for crypto Twitter. A little late here. Are there any alts you're looking at to hold during the bull run and trade? Yeah. So if you're just getting over here, I haven't even talked about specific coins yet. So just hang in there. I want to get this total market cap discussion out of the way, and then we'll move on. Some stuff from Twitch. So which crypto do we buy? I'm gonna assume that's a meme. Okay, nothing meaningful there. Okay, so let's talk about total market cap 2, and then we'll talk about Bitcoin and then alts. And then you can go out to recess and play with your friends, okay? So total 2 is, I'm just going to leave this on here forever so you don't have to ask. Total 2 is just total market cap minus Bitcoin, so it's all altcoins, right? All altcoins. Why do we look at total 2? We want to know if there is strength in altcoins. Does it favor an upside projection, or is your money just best? We want to know, is our money best in Bitcoin or altcoins? We've already determined we want to be in crypto. We just want to know where. Total market cap says crypto is a risk on event. We want to put money into crypto. Total 2 says is investing in alts a good decision right now? And right now, the answer is yes. We see clean as clean can be, the support and resistance flip again on total 2. And this is making a W bottom sort of thing. You can call it an accumulation trading range. I had some troll on YouTube tell me that this wasn't an accumulation trading range and that he would be back in a few weeks to let me know when I failed. Still waiting on that update, but I'll be sure to let you guys know when I fail. Otherwise, for all the normal non-neck, beard, mouth breathers, let's go ahead and have this discussion. We see clean retest right here, a nice bounce, and keep in mind these are weekly candles, so this is just a slow-moving train that's going to accelerate over time, but the upside growth is off the neckline. This is the conservative option, mind you, but the upside growth is another 70% growth from the neckline retest, or current price would be 40, you could say 50%, because here's the actual resistance. So 40 to 50% upside in altcoin market cap growth, and that is huge, right? I mean, 50% growth in any individual coin is big, but we're talking 50% growth across the board. Okay, so that doesn't tell us which coins are going to grow. It just says altcoins have a lot of upside potential. Okay, so before I get into Bitcoin, any questions about why do we give a shit about total market cap? Why is it important? Why look at total versus total 2, etc.? Any questions like that? Let's hear it. And I know there's like a 30-second delay, so I'll just sit here and slurp my cold. Dude, I've had so much cold brew today. I'm like I'm like the cokehead at the club who's like scheming business ideas, and my hands are just like they're going crazy right now. But I fucking love cold brew. And actually, so totally forgot to make this. Announcement, but I have a coupon code going now. It's, what is it, Bull 20? Yeah, Bull 20. And if you're interested in joining, if you've ever been interested in joining my trading group, now's a great time. If it's your first time signing up, you get 50% off. Yeah, you can have access to my thoughts and ramblings and memes 24/7. And you don't have to wait for these stream updates and stuff like that. I post most of my trades. More of like, I don't post exact trades where I'm like, I got in at $20.29, but I'll be like, yo, I'm starting to risk on here. I don't find it terribly insightful when people just post their trades. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything to you. You don't know what the size is. We have different risk appetites. You don't know what the total portfolio makeup is. You don't know, it's just, it means nothing. But if you have in general, someone saying, yo, I'm looking to risk on here, this looks good for another 20% move up, I find that to be a little bit more helpful. And that's kind of more of the flavor in which I provide information. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Bitcoin, because that's the exciting stuff. So let's look at the monthly, because it is like just the cleanest, the meanest, cleanest support resistance flip in all of the land to the pixel. Bitcoin coming in hot on this red candle, and then blam, bouncing off. Granted, we still have 10 days left on this candle until the monthly closes, but unless Bitcoin just eats a heaping plate of shit over the next 11 days, this is closing green. And if it does close red, I don't want to be in the crypto market. So this is a very clear, cut and dry. It's either bullish continuation or it's reversing from here. That's what it boils down to me. But what I like is just how clean this resistance flip was. It was resistance for so long, finally broke above it here, and then flipped it to the pixel. Just beautiful. I mean, we did see these like crazy wicks, but we're looking at the closes here. And when we look at the weekly chart, we see more of the same. So with the weekly chart, you can get a little bit more resolution on the argument. We get this, the support and resistance zone isn't necessarily just a discrete line anymore. It's more of a zone because there's volatility we have to take into account once we get deeper and deeper into lower time frames. But we get this really clean gray zone. And I'm not just, this wasn't something in hindsight I threw on the chart. I was literally talking about this weeks ago, that I don't know why everyone was bearish in here, but this just looks like a run-of-the-mill support and resistance flip. We see resistance for 2 to 3 years. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. This is a very, very big deal that we're flipping the support, this resistance into support. It was resistance back in 2018, 2019. All of these guys finally broke it, accepted it, and it looks like before any meaningful downside is going to see the crypto market, the bulls are in control here. I mean, you can only reject a level so many times before the supply is just exhausted and it gets absorbed. And that's exactly what we see here. We see this monster of a rally coming off of here. I mean, I haven't even measured this, but what is from bottom to top right now? It's up 30%. I mean, come on, this is crazy. And personally, I'm not expecting this to stop here. We might come back down and retest the. Let me get a straighter line for you guys. We might come back down and get a retest of this sort of dealio. So we get like a stair-stepping sort of fashion here. Boom, 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 and then boom. But I think any pullback is for buying right now. We're posting higher highs, higher lows. I mean, this is an uptrend as an uptrend gets. This is more of an uptrend than any uptrend we've had since 2016/2017. Back in 2019, we had this uptrend, but I mean, it was kind of just more like, it was a short liquidation cascade that blew off the top. This looks like a more controlled, intentional move to the upside where players are accumulating, which brings me to the next point of discussion, which is the PayPal announcement. Okay, so if you've been in the crypto market for any length of time, you know that like there's been news events for this, news events for that. There's a partnership with Ethereum, like, which means dick, right? Like, all these stupid partnerships don't mean anything, but they do create hype events. Whether or not they actually mean anything for, like the benefit or detriment of the coin is up for debate. But what is not up for debate is how big of a deal this PayPal announcement is. This is an opportunity to bridge the gap between no coiners and crypto holders in a time when making merchant payments isn't exactly the most convenient thing. And right now we have an opportunity where if you were so inclined, you could go on Craigslist and find your favorite hooker. And rather than paying her or him in cash, you could be like, yo, I'm going to pay you via PayPal with my Bitcoin. And she could say, or he could say, I don't care about Bitcoin. You could say, whoa, it's cool. I can sell it to you. I can give you the Bitcoin and you can flip it into cash immediately via PayPal. You never have to worry about the Bitcoin transaction. You never have to worry about losing your paper wallet. You never have to worry about this or that or blah, 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 blah. It's easy. Online merchants now have an avenue to make Bitcoin transactions very, very simple. And this is, in my opinion, the next step that Bitcoin needs to see when we start to see mainstream adoption across online merchants that's convenient, right? That's not to say things like Newegg, for example, if you like to build your computer setups, you've been buying computer hardware and software with Bitcoin forever, right? But now you can do this with anything that's accepted by PayPal is going to now be meshed into the crypto universe, and it bridges the gap. And this to me is huge. It's only going to bring more and more user adoption as the use case grows. And in the atmosphere of the weakening dollar, which I already talked about, this just further goes to prove the viability of Bitcoin is here to stay. PayPal's not making this adoption if they don't see the long-term outlook for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going nowhere. This is huge. Okay, before I go into altcoins, do you guys have any questions about this? Oh, so I guess I should talk about why I think 14K is the next objective. So on the weekly chart, we see this very strong horizontal level, and when we look at the monthly chart, more of the same. So what I'm expecting to be the next step, whether it's coming down here and retesting, ultimately, I think we go here. Whether it's a straight shot up and retest, or retest here and straight shot up, I think this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate destination before we start to see any real supply hit the market. Given the fact that we've been seeing these stair-stepping moves, I'm a little bit more inclined to see something like this. But a move here, it's just a matter of time, guys. It's a matter of time. You know, maybe we move up here and see a rejection here, and then it moves up or whatever. But I think ultimately 14K is going to be the level where a lot of people take profit. 14K is the level where a lot of people start to raise their eyebrows. They start to say, holy shit, I was wrong. It's not going to lower lows. I can't believe I posted that publicly, and now I'm embarrassed, and I embarrassed myself in front of all my friends. You know, those kind of guys. Once it clears this high, probably going to see some selling take place. Probably going to see some FOMO take place. This is the twilight zone. This is where shit starts to get weird. But I think this is the destination we're aiming for, is clearing this high, and see a cascade of liquidations. Question from Twitch. Look at the pump from December 19th to the COVID dump. Maybe the same thing happen again if macro takes a dump. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I'm assuming you mean you're saying, what if this is this? I mean, yeah, of course. But that is just as valid of an argument to say, what if this is this? You know, it's like, you got to play it day by day, and, you know, just take everything with a grain of salt. But right now, the biggest difference between, okay, here's the thing. The biggest difference between this and this is we're well above prior highs. We've established a very solid uptrend. We're breaking market structure. That's the most important thing here, is we are breaking market structure. For 2.5 to 3 years, this was bearish market structure here, and it's broken. Broken once, rejected, and now it's rallying to the upside. This is huge. Breaking bearish market structure is exactly what we want to see if you're a Bitcoin bull. From Twitch, Crypto Jack, my buddy from the last stream, if you caught him, he's in the chat. He said, I think COVID dump flushed out the weekends. If you didn't sell then, you ain't selling. I agree. This looks like a massive shakeout event. It doesn't look like it was a massive shakeout event. It was breathtaking at the time. In hindsight, it is just flushed out so many weak hands that probably held for a long time. And now it's just gliding up because the supply has just been exhausted. From YouTube, is it irresponsible? I love these questions. I haven't even read your question, but when people ask me, is it irresponsible? Let's hear it. Okay. Is it irresponsible for 80% of my crypto exposure to be in Ether? Kind of wanted to rebalance into Bitcoin, but can't help feeling there will be some upside in Ether, or I'm sorry, there will be more upside in Ether than Bitcoin in the coming 18 and 36 months. 18 and 36 months, that's too far for me to say whether or not I personally think Ether will outperform Bitcoin. So the way that I play alts is a little bit. So I play alts in waves. I've talked about this a ton of times, but capital in the crypto market sloshes around like water in a bathtub. It goes from side to side. And here's the spigot, water's coming in. And the tub doesn't fill up equally. Okay. The tub doesn't go here and just rise at all levels. This idea that like a rising tide lifts all ships is true, but the rising tide also has waves in it, and some ships rise faster than others. And it's inconsistent, right? Because waves across the beach, they don't just sit in place and just go up and down. The waves travel across the landscape, and the capital will flow from coin to coin. So the way I like to play is I like to play my altcoin exposure, maybe 3 to 4 to 5 coins max exposure, while taking profit into Bitcoin. My exposure in alts will rotate depending on what strength I see. Like for the longest time, for the last few weeks, prior to the last few weeks, I had zero exposure to Link. But as it looked like it was going to bottom and rise, my exposure grew. And once it looks like the Link trend is starting to taper out, I see signs of bullish exhaustion. That capital will rotate to something else. I'm never going to just buy and hold something and just be like, please make me rich in 3 years. Because a lot can change in 3 years. But what is not going to change is the way that capital rotates. That's just the way markets move. Stocks move like that. Metals move like that. All the markets move like that. It's just inefficient for markets to rise all at the same time. And so we're kind of playing this whack-a-mole thing. And the most I'll hold an altcoin position is like maybe a month and a half. And then my exposure will vary until it's ultimately zero. Hi, Schmidtcoin. Hi, Whirlpool. Thoughts on Link? Looks like it's going to outperform the entire market again with a bullish Bitcoin. So I'm going to talk about Link. Before I go into alts, do you guys have any questions about Bitcoin right now? And then we'll get more specific. So from Twitch, the only thing I don't like is how all of crypto Twitter is bullish. I don't know who you're following on crypto Twitter, but I've been seeing prior to like 3 days ago, I've been seeing nothing but, oh, you're an idiot for being bullish on crypto. This is going down. This is so obvious. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of smuggery, if that's a word. Smug attitudes. And now I'm going to be the smug bull and rub it in your face. Ha. I got you, didn't I? Okay. Uh-oh. I see a UPS truck. Hopefully my dog doesn't hear my neighbor get a package. Up. There she goes. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna mute the stream. I need to get a mute hotkey so I can just slam it whenever I have it for Discord, like when I'm playing games and my dog starts to bark. Okay, so we talked about the dollar, we talked about total market cap, we talked about Bitcoin. Let's talk about the alts. Okay. First we'll go to Ether. Then we'll go to Link. We'll go to XRP because I think XRP looks mighty fine. Say what you want about how much you hate it and how it's a scam. Don't give a shit. That's fine. and then we'll move on to updates on Monero, and then I'll take some requests. Let's move everything over here. Okay, so on, where are we? Where's Ether? Let's reorganize this real quick. All right, so we got Ether. Let's look at Ether on the, I think Ether on the weekly view is the perfect view to view it. The perfect view to view it. Cool. It's the perfect lens through which to analyze this market. It's by far the cleanest. That's not to say the daily doesn't look clean. It's just, it's a bit choppy. In my opinion, if you're a long-term trader, like there was an individual who was just asking me about 18 to 36 months down the road. If that's the kind of time frame you're looking at, daily's too low resolution. But for most people, daily's okay. On specific alts, I like to make my bias on different time frames. Like on Link, I like to go to daily. On Ether, I like to be on the weekly. And then I'll zoom in for entrances and exits and stuff. So I was talking about this level for a while. This, in my opinion, is the most bullish situation we could ask for on Ether. We see a very clean rejection off of this level here. It's outlined here. We saw a really clean rejection here, came all the way down and got a perfect tap off of here, rallied and closed a perfect weekly candle close here. If you think I'm full of shit, I literally tweeted this out before it happened. I said most bullish situation Ether could ask for as a slam down to here, a rally, and a close right here. Not tooting my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. That's what I said. Okay, I'm sticking to my guns here. It did not close below this level. And now we're starting to see a nice rally off of this level. You see I have a red horizontal outline, so let's take a look at that. That is my 2018 monthly swing low. So it's going to be this guy when you zoom out. So a monthly level looks great. It's this horizontal right here. And what I would like to see is I would like to see Ether closing above this on the weekly time frame. I'm sorry, on the monthly time frame, which is in 10 days. But so far, weekly looks great. It's climbing up off of this support and resistance flip. And when we look at the cloud metrics, looks great. It just so happens that the weekly Tenkan is right on our horizontal that we're looking for. So nice bit of confluence there. I'd like to see weekly close above that and ultimately a monthly close above that horizontal. That horizontal is at 396. You could call it 400, whatever you want to call it. It's fine. But point being, this is a beautiful macro uptrend. One of the cleanest out there. We see a very clean cloud breakout, a very clean golden cross. Trend metrics look amazing. This looks great. So let's go ahead and look at the Ether Bitcoin chart, because that's the other side of the coin. No pun intended, but I'll make the pun. I want to look at the trend metrics here. Trend metrics say full bull. Okay, we had this. If you follow any of the cloud setups, this was a C-clamp sort of dealio here. Don't really want to see the weekly closing below this Kijun here. But right now it's fine. Like this, it hit its downside target and it's bouncing as is. Don't want to see any further bleed. Maybe we get a retest here. But as long as Ether USD is trending up and this bleeds down, it's not going to sound any alarms for me. It just means that you entered into Ether too early. Not the end of the world. I'll just hang on to it until we start to see something like this break. But ultimately, this is full bull. Ether Bitcoin is full bull. And I have it on Poloniex because it has a lot of price history. And what we can see here is that this is the first time it's been above the cloud since, let's say, I don't really consider this to be anything big. since 2017, early 2017. First time above the weekly cloud. So Ether looks amazing. It might lag behind in the early stages of Bitcoin growth, but long term, it looks great. I have really high targets for Ether, similar to how I had targets back in 2017 of it doubling and then tripling. Like, I'm thinking the same thing. When we look at the trading range it broke out of, this is about as clean as you can ask for an accumulation trading range. We see the volume profile matches beautifully. We see the sign of strength blasting out of the top of the trading range on high volume and high spread. It was preceded by this terminal shakeout, and yeah, this looks like it's just kind of further maybe it does like some sort of triangular consolidation or ascending triangular consolidation, but ultimately this is just bullish as it can be. It just might consolidate a bit longer while Ether Bitcoin bleeds down maybe a little lower, but nothing that is going to like strike fear in the heart of my bias here. Yeah. Anything else to say? Any comments about Ether before we go on to Link? Litecoin, please. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Litecoin too, because it's got a really similar setup to Ripple right now. So it's turning around. I wasn't very optimistic on Litecoin, but on the daily time frame, it looks pretty good. But we'll talk about that more in detail in a second. Oh. Sorry to the 0x guy, but this is literally my circle from the not trying to rub this in, but the ZRX guy that keeps asking me to chart ZRX, and I was like, yo, this is probably going to bleed to this new low. This is the circle from the last stream. Not funny because I know you have ZRX, but it's kind of funny because it's like sitting right in the middle of it. Yeah. ZRX looks like shit. All right, let's talk about Link, because I love Link and Link loves me, and we're happy together. So let's look at Link Bitcoin first. So Link Bitcoin is one of my favorite. Link Bitcoin might be one of the cleanest charts ever. This isn't the full history, is it? Does Binance have a longer history? Yeah. Okay, I was about to say there's no way. Link Bitcoin might be the cleanest chart ever. It just does this like sea serpent thing, right? It breaks a new all-time high. It bleeds out to the 200 EMA. Makes a new all-time high. Bleeds out to the 200 EMA. Rinse, repeat. Rinse. Oops. Repeat. Okay. This is exactly what we want to see. Business as usual. Just goes down to the 200 EMA and it rallies. Okay. Right now, it's got a little bit of a bearish setup. Nothing terribly crazy. We do see a bullish recross here. It's kind of flirting with a bearish recross, but nothing terribly eyebrow raising. Next objective I really want to see is I want to see Link back in the cloud. If it gets back in the cloud, hold on to your butts because it's gonna take off. When we look at Link we look at Link USD, it's already starting to do that. It's flirting with a cloud penetration, and we see it sitting right inside the cloud. And if you know anything about cloud setups, once a candle closes inside the cloud, it has a very high chance of traveling to the upside, which for us Doesn't look very far, but if we close right around here, it's a 28% move to the upside. And that's exactly what we want to see. Link strength has more often than not been a harbinger of goodwill and strength in the altcoin market. So if we see strength in Link, that is very, very good for alts, and that's exactly what we want to see. A lot of times, so when I've talked about, I talked about this sloshing back and forth of capital in the cryptocurrency bathtub. Right now, the currency's sloshed to the Bitcoin end, but eventually that capital is all going to come sliding right back to alts. And once it does, we're going to see some crazy stuff start to happen again, because total capital has grown, right? Total crypto market cap has grown. Now the sloshes are going to keep raising altcoins, raising Bitcoin, raising altcoins, raising Bitcoin, sliding side to side until ultimately capital exits the market. And right now, Link looks like a really great candidate. From YouTube, do you think that Ether USD will retrace to 380s if today's daily... Okay, hold on. Oop, where is it? Wrong window. Let's see. Okay, a lot of conditionals there. If today's daily closes below 390s, so 390s, let's just call it right here. If the daily candle closes below there, will it retrace to 380s? Well, yeah, by default. If it closes below 390s, 380 is right below 390. So yes, I do think that. I think you're asking a question with an answer in it. What is less than 390? 380s. Kind of a weird question. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to, let's go to Ripple. Believe it or not, Ripple looks good. Okay, so Ripple is setting up, no one's talking about this. I guess too many people have been beaten over the head by Ripple bulls that like now the bulls are just scared. They're like, please don't hurt me. I swear Ripple's really cool. Just believe me, please, guys. And they're worried about posting bullish charts, but this is a clean head and shoulders bottom. Where are head and shoulders bottoms? Boom. Okay, head, shoulder, shoulder. Technically, we need to wait for the confirmation where it closes above here to enter, but it's shaping up really nicely, super clean. And once it breaks out, it has a 15% upside target. And from current price, I think it's something like 18%, 17.5, excuse me. But yeah, looks great. I'm also of the belief, I don't know if you guys follow DJ Thistle on Twitter, but he posts really good stuff. And typically whenever I find that me and him are on the same page with a coin, it performs really, really well. He's somebody you should give him a follow if you don't already. He's a low spam sort of dude, not really posting stupid shit like Bitcoin's really cool, like if you agree. Like, I hate that shit. He doesn't do any of that. He posts quality stuff, so check him out. But if we look at XRP BTC, oh wait, no, I want Poloniex. Polo. It's doing the thing that Ripple does where it just plays possum. It does the rope-a-dope strategy like Muhammad Ali, and then ba-blam, knockout punch, rope-a-dope, ba-blam, rope-a-dope, ba-blam. And it's doing this prolonged bleed. And I'm of the belief that we are somewhere in here. I think the bottom, the end is near, the end is nigh. I'm on the corner with my sign and my dirty clothes screaming, repent, the end is near. But I think Ripple's about to just rip. No pun intended. I think it's really gonna rally pretty hard. It's gonna be swift, it's gonna be violent, it's gonna be hated, it's gonna be reviled. Don't care. Great chart. What Twitter to follow? Let me get his actual handle, and I'll just type it. So it's at TJ Zissel01. That's his Twitter handle. Give him a follow. He's great. I'll leave that here. Are you going to watch the new Borat movie? Relevant, entirely relevant. I didn't know there was a new Borat movie. So if that tells you anything. What about you? What's going on in your personal life? How are things going with you, the Roth? Okay, so on YouTube, any bag holder hoping for a revival of interest in the alt generation of alts in the upcoming bull cycle is sadly mistaken. Newer, shinier coins are competing for the same pool of money. I do agree with that, but I don't agree with that for everything. There are quite a few things that are cyclical, like for example, like Doge. Doge is old as dirt, and it still does this sort of thing. Boom, 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 boom. Forever. Okay? So I don't think just because a coin is old, it has no upside potential. That's a fallacy. But I generally do agree with that. And I think that's why Link is performing so well, is because it had no overhanging supply where people were just selling into breakouts. You know, it's in price discovery mode. On the macro time frame, it's in price discovery mode. So in general, I think that's true, but not just a wide sweeping blanket statement that I will endorse. What else did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, let's talk about Monero. So Monero on the weekly time frame, hitting a really clean retest of the 200 EMA, but otherwise super, super clean cloud breakout. It was in a very strong downtrend since 2017, really. And now it's showing signs of life. It's breaking out of the cloud. It's getting this really clean 200 EMA retest. Might come down as low as the Kijun. Don't want to see any real further weakness from here. But it's very promising. And when we look at the USD chart, we see super clean accumulation trading range breaking out in the form of a double bottom. Retested the neckline here, and my upside projection is about 70% off of this low. And that just goes from standard projected breakout growth from double bottoms. You just measure it from, really, I should be measuring it from like the lowest low, but I'm being conservative. But yeah, Monero looks great. It's sitting on a couple of macro levels here. And I'm comfortable holding Monero for the next few weeks. You know, if it goes down below this low, whatever, I don't really care, because I know that long term, it has this really high upside objective, which is about right here, 177 bucks. Yeah, lines up really well with the zone in here. Okay, someone wanted to see Litecoin. Where did I have a Litecoin chart around here somewhere? Let's go in here. LTC USD. Wait, who has a good? Ah, fuck it. It doesn't matter. So let's go to the daily, because this is really what I'm looking at. So on the daily, we see a really clean, again, head and shoulders bottom. Boom, boom, boom. You know, something like that. And this one's actually doing the breakout. So projected move from this is quite nice. We just measure it from here. Let's call it there to the neckline. And take into account this is conservative here. 9.6, and we just go 9.6. 20% growth. Not bad. And when we look at Litecoin BTC, yeah, it's been doing this like falling wedge sort of thing forever, where it's, you know, doing this guy and this guy, something like that. But to be honest with you, trading falling wedges in a downtrend is kind of a bad idea. Best falling wedges are, like, I'll show you a good example of a good falling wedge to trade. A good falling wedge to trade is a setup like what we see in gold right now, where it's more of a bull flag than anything else. You know, it's done this a few times. Gold has, where it makes this like kind of falling wedge sort of thing, and then it breaks out to the upside. You know, you can call it a tilted flag, a tilted pennant, whatever you want to call it. But in general, these are kind of shitty to trade, where it's like the price is falling, it's falling, and then at the bottom of the trend, it does this sort of thing, because a lot of times it just goes, it falls to the downside there. And you don't want to be buying this. So if you are going to trade the falling wedge, I would wait for the breakout, if anything. But that being said, if I had to guess, probably going to see some divergence on a high time frame here. Okay. Oh, this is Coinbase. That's why. Yeah, a little divergence E. But on the daily Litecoin USD chart, yeah, I mean, this looks like it's good for another push up from the neckline, about 20%. From YouTube, what's up, Schmidtcoin? Really like your videos. Thank you. This is my first time watching live. Keep it up. Thanks. Glad you could catch it live. I try to do it in the middle of the day because I have a large chunk of the people that follow me are in Europe. And sometimes when I do it at like 8 or 9, like when I get back from training, it's like, you know, middle of the night for them. So thanks for your videos. Cheers from the UK. Yeah, see, there's one right there. It's from the UK. So this is like right when they get off work. For the US, it's like people are at work and you're working from home anyway. So from Twitch, what new alts would you recommend to play for the next few weeks? Link looks like we'll go in reaccumulation for now. It had a great run in the last few weeks. So I disagree about Link. I think it could easily keep going to the upside. I mean, I talked about that earlier. But new alts, it depends on what you mean by new. Like, if it doesn't have a lot of price history, I don't feel comfortable trading it. There's no reason to. For me, for the way that I trade, if it doesn't have a lot of price history, I have no real data to support any of my bias. And there's a lot of unknowns and sketchy stuff that happens in crypto that I don't feel like playing catch up with. Like, you could be looking at a chart and you're like, oh, this looks great. And then you look at it and it's like, oh, but the developers retained 99% of the coin. You know, it's never 99% of the coin, but The devs retained a huge, they pre-mined a chunk of the coin and they can just dump on you whenever they want. Like, I don't want any of that. I want nothing to do with that. So if there's not a lot of price history, I don't have interest personally. Oh man, there's a lot of people on YouTube. Okay, from YouTube. Not sure if you had chartered VAT. Do you trade it at all? I really like the violently over the lust. So yeah, I'll take a look at. I actually like BAT. I've never bought a single BAT coin in my life, but I think BAT's cool. To be honest with you, I think it's fine. But yeah, we'll take a look at that in a second. 10 p.m. in France. Okay, cool. So there you go. Could you have a look at AGI and Ren on Binance? Thanks, TA Wizard. Definitely not a wizard. My skills are primitive at best. Plenty of rug pulls in the DeFi space, Wild West. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just have no interest in that stupid shit. There's no reason. Like, Bitcoin's up 30% from its recent low. Like, how greedy do you need to be? I don't need to expose myself to that. Okay, so let's chart BAT. God damn it, BAT. Let's go BAT BTC. Who has good history on BAT? Is it Binance? Probably. This is an interesting chart. Why is this interesting, you ask? Good question. Because I like this. I like this bleed and decreasing volume. This is most likely going to bust this low. And that's going to be very telling how it reacts to that. You can stagger some buys down here if you're feeling squirrely. But I see no reason to rush this thing. But there is an argument this is an accumulation trading range. And what I would like to see is a break below and then a close back inside the trading range. And that would be the entry signal for me, is a close back inside the trading range. I don't want to be buying a breaking of support. I want to be buying a reclamation of the support. So from Twitch, what do you consider? So when I said I only play things with price history, and you said, what do you consider enough price history, like quote unquote enough price history? I want to see at least a year. Is a year too much to ask? At least let it go through one, fiscal year. I think that's fair. But something that's like, if I have to look at the damn 4-hour chart just to even see what's going on, I have zero interest in that whatsoever. Let's look at BAT. Let's look at BAT USD. It's about as oscillatory as you could ask. Is that the most price history we can get? I don't remember when it got released. Didn't it get released like early 2017? I remember the ICO. Am I crazy? Was that at the end of 2017? Is my memory just that bad? Maybe that is the most. Okay. Jesus. So many just levels. Yeah, but it's doing that bleeding thing too on volume. There's not a whole lot of... Sorry, I'm like thinking out loud because I haven't looked at a bat chart in forever. You know, I could see a capitulation down to here, like setting a Hail Mary buy right in there at 17.5 at 0.175. That doesn't seem crazy to me. Maybe a wick and a go. Something like this. But it's just so zigzaggy that it doesn't really... It's not like super clean. So from Twitch, this looks like a great place to hold bat for long term if it closes in the range, just like you said. Yeah. So that would be the condition, right? Is I want to see bat breaking the low, and then so for two reasons. So I want to see bat break this low before I buy, and I want to see it reclaim before I buy. I don't want to be buying here because you don't want to be just assuming that the support holds, because this could go like down here, really gut wrenching, and then come up, and you don't want to be holding all that shit during that. There's no point. Also, reason you don't want to be just buying here is because this is going to be looming over your head that, man, there's a possibility, even if it starts like going like this, doing this, there's a possibility that there's like a lot of liquidity down here, and you don't want to just be sitting there without the unknown of like what happens if that busts, because you could be sitting up in here and then it goes boom, and then the floor just crumbles beneath you. So I think it's just better to wait for the floor to bust, see how it handles it. No point in rushing an entry there. For what it's worth, some of the new DeFi coins seem really, really clean with the default moving average they show. Okay, well, I still don't have interest in it. I mean, if you like to do DeFi coins, that's fine. I'm just saying my personal trade strategy has zero interest in that. Now that we're talking politics, I didn't realize I was talking politics, but okay. Now that we're talking politics, in which way do you think the election will impact the global market cap? The global market cap? Do you mean the crypto market cap? So I think no matter what happens with the election, it's bearish for the dollar. That's just the way I see it. I don't see a bullish case for the dollar, no matter who wins. And that, of course, is going to be bullish for crypto. So I think it doesn't matter. The writing's on the wall. Okay. I had some other requests. Tell me some coins you guys want to see. And in the meantime, let me go ahead and show my coupon code that I have. I don't think I've had a coupon code in a while, but if you're interested in joining my trading group, go to bitcoinschmittcoin.com and use coupon code BULL20. Get 50% off your first membership. Any views on the VIX? So I haven't looked at VIX in a while. To be honest with you, I'm not the best at reading the VIX. I just know that it's an oscillation. Typically, the lower it is, the more coiled the market is, the more likely it is to spring load. But that's about the most my knowledge extends. So I'm probably not the best reference for that, honestly. All right, let's go to AGI. All right, so guys, here's a new rule. If you want me to look at a coin, tell me the exchange you want me to look at it to. So I don't sit here and be like, is this the best price history? Is cut coin the best price history? Let me see. I mean, this looks good to me. If I remember correctly, I think someone... Oh, I take that back. This does not look good to me. I mean, I like that it's sitting on long-term support, and it's flipping the long-term resistance into support so far. That's cool. But I could easily see this consolidating sideways for a long period of time and then breaking back out. I see no reason to rush a position on this. Ren, BTC on Binance. Let me see. Ren doesn't look too bad. It's got a nice bounce off the 200 EMA. If it closes inside the cloud, so similar to Link, it'll have a setup where it could close. So, I mean, that's a 22% move. That's not bad. But in terms of trend, this is not a good, not a quote unquote clean trend. But yeah, it doesn't look bad. I see a nice setup here if it closes inside the cloud, where I see an argument that it could go up here. Yeah, so it's not bad. Can you take a look at Neo? Yeah. So I actually meant to look at Neo. So Neo is actually really clean. Similar to Ether, ironically enough. It has a super clean cloud breakout on the weekly chart. Doesn't get much cleaner than this, and it's corresponding with a support and resistance flip. So boom, double whammy. Super strong cloud breakout on the weekly, combined with a support and resistance flip. If you were interested in getting into Neo, this is definitely the spot to do it. And when we look in here, we can see that it's still under the cloud, so you could wait for a stronger signal, like maybe a daily candle close above here. But it's sitting on the weekly level. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to start dipping your toes in right in here. It's on a macro level. It's got a strong macro structure. The trend isn't broken. It's riding this Kijun. It looks good to me. Okay, any other coins you guys want to look at? And then we'll peace out. SBX. Absolutely. Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at SBX. Is SPY okay with you, sir? Or do I actually have to go to SBX? So, it's getting a nice retest of this level. It basically filled all these gaps in here. But it's sitting on this like support zone. Something like that. And it looks like it's, to me, I mean, some people are saying this looks like a flag of some kind. Like a low time frame flag. But to me, this looks like it's making a base for a bottom. And when we look at the trend metrics, you know, it's just chilling right on top of this cloud. I would prefer for it to be above the cloud, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, SPX, it just looks like it's consolidating. It's figuring out what it wants to do before the election. It's probably just going to be chopping, honestly, until someone wins and then break out. But yeah, I'm bullish on stocks, honestly. Can we look at Tomo on Binance? Ooh. Well, that looks like shit. Sorry. But it does. Looks terrible. Yep, that looks pretty bad. Right up there with ZRX. Oh yeah, let's look at Stellar. Man, Stellar had a really good chance to do this edge-to-edge trade, and it failed. And whenever things do that, it's usually not good because it's rejecting the cloud instead of accepting with warm, open arms. It's rejecting the resistance. Stellar doesn't look the best. I mean, it is making this like macro high or low, I guess you could say, if you're really looking for a bullish argument. But it's not anything that really makes me, yeah, especially considering like it could have done a massive edge to edge trade here, but it didn't. It just cucked all the bulls and rejected. So there are definitely more bullish setups out there, but I understand the argument if you're starting to accumulate here. DAG on KuCoin. God damn, you guys are picking some shit coins. This looks terrible. Looks really bad. This is about as strong of a downtrend as you could ask for. Got a bearish, I'm sorry, a death cross on the 50 and the 200. This just is, This doesn't look good at all. This just looks like downward continuation. No signs of stopping there. You know, maybe it forms a range at the bottom, but it's not what the trend. It's not what the trend suggests. What do you think about BTC dominance? I actually never look at BTC dominance. What is the ticker for that? Is there a way to just, what is the ticker for a BTC.D? That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, this is about what we expect, right? Bitcoin rallying while the alts kind of just chill, and you know, some of them see a little bit of growth, but for the most part, they're just chilling. Yeah, this is about what we expect to see. The fact that it's running into this 200 EMA is also what I would expect to see. I'm kind of expecting maybe a little bit more upside from Bitcoin, but any upside in Bitcoin is going to pull up alts with it, and I think the alts will outperform it on the second shove. And the fact that it's like running into this 200 EMA, you know, maybe it breaks above and retests it or something, but yeah, it's running into macro resistance here, especially like on a horizontal, horizontal standpoint. But yeah, this is about what we'd expect to see, right? Might do one of these numbers here. No yawns. Sorry. After about an hour of streaming, my brain turns into Play-Doh in the worst ways. Dry Play-Doh. Like when you're a kid, you accidentally left the cap off your Play-Doh and it just turns into like a green cylinder. That. Can you say a word about the basics behind Ichimoku clouds, if you don't mind? Yeah. So let's go to... Yeah, so I'm trying to think of what is a good chart to do that. Let's go to the daily chart on Dixie. So cloud anatomy, this is just the cloud anatomy here, okay? So it's comprised of, you've got the cloud, and you have two moving averages and a lagging span. And all the lagging span is it's this current price offset by some distance in time. So if you look here, the lagging span, which is this yellow bro, is just the price just offset, right? You can think of the Tenkan, which is this blue guy, and the Kijun, which is this red guy, as a fast moving average and a slow moving average. Slow moving average. Okay, so if, just like any other moving averages you might ever use, an uptrend or a downtrend is primarily defined as the price trending below or above the slow and fast moving averages. The nice thing about the cloud, which separates it from typical moving averages, is there are degrees of bullishness or degrees of bearishness. In the cloud system, it's not enough to just be trending above or below the slow and fast moving averages. There are different levels to which that is more bullish or less bullish. In this case of the dollar index, the cloud gives us a stronger bearish bias than normal, because not only is price trending below the slow moving average and the fast moving average, the blue and the red, it is also trending below the cloud. And the cloud is just, it's this nebulous support or resistance zone. So typical support and resistance is like maybe a horizontal, or sometimes, like a horizontal zone. What's nice about the cloud is it changes with the market trend. So all of this is resistance, not just a horizontal, but this whole band of shit is resistance. So just like if you saw a resistance of a horizontal, a rejection of a horizontal resistance here, a rejection of the cloud can be treated the same way. So it's a system that when used properly provides both support and resistance and trend metrics. The way that I use it a little bit differently is I also slap the 50 and the 200 EMA on top of it for added bias with my trend. Are your Ichimoku settings default? Yes, I just use the default settings. I don't. The doubled settings that Josh Olszewicz likes to use, they're fine. They just give you kind of delayed signals. And both the default and the doubled settings, they have their merits for their own use cases. So the doubled settings give you higher macro trend confidence. But for the way that I trade over a couple of weeks, not a couple of months. And I use a different bias for my month-to-month trades than just the cloud. So I have a different way of doing things, but both have their own merits. There's no like right or wrong way. Okay, I think that does it, guys. Once again, if you're interested in joining the trading group, I highly recommend you take advantage of this, because I don't always offer coupon codes, but go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and use the coupon code BULL20 for 50% off your first membership. Okay? Go there, check it out. You can talk to me more there. But other than that, my throat is dry. My caffeine high is wearing off. And I'm growing bored of this crypto market. But I'll update you guys later if something exciting happens. Try not to over leverage yourself. Don't get too greedy. It's not worth the stress, and B, we're in it for the long haul here. We're not in it for the quick fling. We're in it for the real deal, right? So don't blow your wad on prom night. Stick it out, okay? All right, that's it, guys. You guys have a great rest of your day or night if you're in Europe or whatever. And I'll update you guys later.